The US and Australia prevented China from building a military base near Papua New Guinea. The United States is reportedly expanding the Lombrum Naval Base on the island of Los Negros in Papua New Guinea, months after Washington urged the Pacific Island state to reject a security deal from its rival China. The United States recently announced that it is considering 3 projects for Lombrum Naval Base on the island of Los Negros in Papua New Guinea, renovating a dilapidated small boat jetty measuring 118 feet in length, building a 7,556 square foot Regional Maritime Training Center, and building a 7,351 square foot small boat team and Boson facility. These projects are projected to cost between $11 million and $25 million in total. With China pushing into the Pacific with an eye on expanding its influence in the region, former U.S. Vice President Mike Pence announced in 2018 that the U.S. would collaborate with Australia and Papua New Guinea to revitalize Lombrum Naval Base. At that time, the Trump administration said the decision was taken in response to China's infrastructure development projects. Australia, for one, has been involved in refurbishing the base and stationing vessels. However, the U.S. plans were implemented much later. A historic security agreement between the two nations was inked in May last year, allowing the U.S. military to expand and function out of facilities in Papua New Guinea. The pact allowed the U.S. to station military personnel and ships at 6 significant ports and airports, which include the Lombrum Naval Base, located on Manus Island, and Port Moresby City. The agreement further clarified that Washington would be able to pre-position equipment, supplies, and material at the sites with unimpeded access, and it would have exclusive use of some base zones for construction activities and development. Over a month after the agreement was announced, the U.S. Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, said that the government was not looking for a permanent naval base in the Pacific country, but would work to boost the island state's capability with the new defense framework. With Beijing and Washington's hostility escalating, the deal allows Washington to expand its military presence in the Western Pacific. The recent announcement comes just months after China offered a key security deal to PNG in January this year. PNG's Foreign Minister, Justin Kachenko, told reporters in January this year that China had approached his country with an offer to provide training, equipment, and surveillance technologies to its police force. He said that his country would assess whether the Chinese offer was similar to the security assistance offered by its partners, Australia and the U.S. However, days after the announcement, United States Deputy Secretary of State Richard Verma urged Papua New Guinea to decline China's offer of a possible security alliance, cautioning the Pacific country that any security assurance with Beijing had costs and repercussions. Papua New Guinea was crucial in determining the outcome of World War II in the Pacific. It is situated between Taiwan and Australia, a U.S. ally. The U.S. expansion of the naval base is part of an extensive U.S. strategy to prevent China's influence from expanding in the region, which has traditionally been the Australian and American sphere of influence. It is evident that Papua New Guinea is strategically crucial given that U.S., Australian, Japanese, German, and British forces have all garrisoned at Lombrum in the past. It was one of the biggest U.S. bases in the Pacific during World War II, with 200 ships anchored, including 20 aircraft carriers and 6 battleships that were used to reclaim the Philippines from Japan. The strategic significance has been underscored by the U.S. grip on PNG. China has also been aggressively working to expand its sphere of influence in the Pacific Island countries, PIC, by negotiating security deals with them, which has alarmed Australia and the U.S. and prompted them to action. China is developing closer relations with the Solomon Islands, which lie close to Australia. In April 2022, China and the Solomon Islands inked the security agreement. Even though the contents were kept secret, the U.S. is worried that in the medium to long term, the Chinese military would use the Solomon Islands as a base of operations. Although the government of the Solomon Islands has reassured the international community against such concerns, China has continued to expand its influence in the South Pacific region by making inroads into the Pacific Island countries that Canberra considers its backyard and also its traditional stronghold. China also signed a deal with Vanuatu to upgrade an international airport in Luganville, another key U.S. military base, during the Second World War. There were also reports that China wanted to sign a potential agreement with East Timor. Under the Pentagon's Pacific Deterrence Initiative, PDI, the United States began to fund naval port expansions at Tinian in the Northern Mariana Islands, Yap in Micronesia, and Koror in Palau, as well as aircraft parking aprons at Basa Air Base in the Philippines and Darwin Air Base in Australia. Besides the Chinese military coming close to the U.S. and Australian territories, an expanding Chinese presence in the region is also unsettling if seen in the context of a potential war between the U.S. and China over the Taiwan issue.